3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday, and I hope that even though it's Monday, you are still excited, because for most of us, this is only a 4-day week. Before we head into the interview and the news for today, our riddle. What has many needles but doesn't sew? You have to think about later on in the year. We'll be back just now. Identity documents that have not been collected and are accumulating are causing headaches for the Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Security, and therefore applicants will again be reminded via SMS to collect them. According to the Ministry, a whopping 52,899 ID cards were not picked up by Namibians who applied for them and are now piling up at the Ministry's offices. Of the 114,348 ID cards issued in 2021 and 22, only 61,455 were collected by applicants. An SMS service in collaboration with MTC has been set up again to remind applicants via notification to collect their IDs. They will receive an SMS when it has been approved and printed, and again when it is ready to be fetched. The Ministry's Executive Director, Etienne Maritz, says applicants can pick up their IDs at the office they indicated, or they can request that it be sent to the Ministry's office in the region where the applicant lives. He says that soon applicants will also be able to inquire about the process of the application by means of a text message. This will also apply for other services of the Ministry. The pathway paved at the Avis Dam for wheelchair users and people who have difficulty walking has been extended by 60 meters. Chairperson of the non-governmental organization Green Space that manages the dam's environment, Vera Freyer, says that they laid the first section of paving for the transition for the sluice to the dam wall. In 2017, they extended the pathway over the dam wall, which made the whole route about 500 meters long. Along the route are couches where people can sit and enjoy nature, the dam, and surrounding mountains. The path makes the dam accessible to people in wheelchairs and also people who have difficulty walking. They have now decided to extend the path by another 60 meters on the north side of the dam. This gives the elderly and physically handicapped visitors an even wider view of the area. The aim is that more elderly persons and people in wheelchairs will use the trail to get out into nature for a bit. There are guards during the day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the summer and from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the winter, and the dam is safe during these times. And finally, in some sporting news, the Bank Windhoek Ramblers Under-21 soccer tournament was launched in Windhoek last week. Thanks to a sponsorship of 145,000 Namibian dollars, the Bank Windhoek Ramblers Under-21 soccer tournament will take place on Friday, the 22nd of April, and again on Saturday, the 30th of April. The 8 participating teams are Ramblers, Athletic Club Football Academy, SKW, DTS, Fortis, Kaizen Football Academy, Swallows, and Kasona. According to Bank Windhoek's Bronwyn Moody, they believe in ploughing back into the communities in which they operate. This tournament captured our imagination because of the specific age group, she said. Upon further market research, they realized a lack of development soccer opportunities for this particular group to develop their skills. They hope that this tournament would be a platform upon which they can develop their skills and prepare for the next level of soccer. According to the Chairperson of the Ramblers Soccer Club, Cedric Fontura, they deem it their social responsibility to offer activities at their premises to allow these young adults to continue playing the sport they love. Today we are talking cannabis and hemp. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you quickly tell us, when was the Cannabis and Hemp Association started in Namibia?
So our official launch date was 2020, but I have been advocating for cannabis legalization in Namibia since 2015, and since about 2017-18, the association has already been busy doing things. But 2020, we got a website.
Why is it so important to legalize cannabis?
It is the prohibition of cannabis is one of the last remaining apartheid laws, alongside our, sexual health and sodomy laws, I guess, that stem from an apartheid government. So essentially the law needs to be revised because the prohibition of cannabis is a human rights violation. We're essentially putting people in cages and giving them criminal records for a plant that's proven to be less harmful than alcohol and tobacco, which you can buy in any shop on the shelf, regulated by age only. So,
but even if you look at caffeine, I mean, I'm addicted to caffeine. Everyone who knows me knows I drink a lot of coffee.
Caffeine is a psychoactive substance. We have so many pharmaceuticals, we have so many addictions, I think that's the other thing we need to look at, addiction to sex, addiction to pornography, addiction to gaming, to internet. There's all these addictions and vices that we have as humans, and the focus seems to be on cannabis and drugs. And we need to move away from that and look at the evidence surrounding these substances, and also the evidence in terms of trauma and, for example, why there is addiction. And I think with cannabis also, for me, the important thing is that it has so much potential, so that is something that we need to start focusing on.
What else does the association do?
So we focus mainly on education for government, for communities. We try to basically give people the facts around cannabis. The other thing is that I really want to stress is, we're not advocating for everyone to now start using cannabis. That's not what this is about. It's about the fact that this plant has the potential as a medicine, as an industrial product, as a sustainable alternative to drilling for fossil fuels and destroying the nature and all the mining that's happening here. So everything that we can do from fossil fuels and from oil, we can do from hemp. But it's a sustainable plant that sequesters carbon, that cleans the soils, it can create industries. And it is globally one of the fastest growing industries. And so, I think that is a huge part of it as well. It's, acknowledging people's human rights, and if someone chooses to use cannabis, then they should rightfully be allowed to do so. But we're not advocating for everyone to use cannabis. And then the other thing that the association does is the advocacy work for the legalization of cannabis. So working with different stakeholders, trying to engage with government and lawmakers and health practitioners as much as possible.
What are the benefits of cannabis and hemp for our economy in the agricultural industry, on the social justice?
I mean, I think it could be immense. Cannabis and hemp. Cannabis, for example, as well as a health product for animals. They just actually did a study on feeding cows cannabis hemp seeds for a matter of weeks, and they then did blood tests and tested the meat, and the quality of the meat, is significantly better. The health of the cows, the hormones, the stress hormones in the meat and in the body are significantly lower. The inflammation is lower. So essentially, when you're feeding your animals, this plant, the seed of the plant, which is anyway a complete nutritional product, you're increasing the health, and as well, there's so much potential in industry, in job creation, because we can create anything, from plastic that's made from hemp, that's sustainable, that is biodegradable, to paper, which, normally we make paper from trees, which take hundreds of years to grow. We can grow hemp, which takes 3 months, and we can make paper that's sustainable and that sequesters carbon, so it's carbon neutral. We can make textiles from hemp, which are, mold resistant, pest resistant, use a quarter of the water that cotton does, don't use pesticides and herbicides and chemicals in the process like cotton does. So there's all this potential. We can be making bricks to create houses, and again, houses that are carbon neutral, houses that don't use as much water or chemicals like, the cement industry, the concrete industry, houses that are pest resistant, mold resistant, fire resistant. So there's all these opportunities for creation of jobs in rural areas as well, creation of jobs in areas where people don't have that much resources, because it can be set up as community hubs. And also different industries, we have so many entrepreneurs in Namibia that can set up, plastic making, weaving, paper making. I feel that if we don't take the opportunity to utilize this plant for its benefits, then, we're essentially missing out. And there's also the element of that climate change is happening and it's real, and our government is drilling for oil when we have the opportunity to engage in sustainable, agriculture of hemp that can benefit us all.
When we look at the sustainability elements, it seems silly that no one's jumping on this wagon, that no one's legalizing it in Namibia.
No.
And the reality is we have vast open spaces of land that can be utilized, and it will be good for our economy. An economy that is, let's face it, struggling.
Exactly. Our economy needs this. And the other thing is as well, like we have areas like the Neckartal Dam, where there is a call out for projects and investments to utilize, the area, utilize the water. So planting hemp there would be perfect. I feel as well, in terms of creating new research, having our own research around the plant and creating new avenues of education, new college degrees in hemp. You see it all over Africa. Countries are legalizing cannabis as well as hemp. And the growth of it is amazing, because it's a plant also that can really grow in a variety of different areas, of different soils, of different climates. And we have so much sun, and we do have the water available. That's the other thing, is utilizing crops like hemp that use less water, and that you can also plant in ways that are not just soaking up a ton of water. For example, like cotton, it's environmentally, it's not a sustainable crop in comparison to hemp, for example.
Today's recommendation is for all the coffee lovers out there. As you all know, I love myself a cup of joe, and this way you can treat yourself to something a little bit more fancy in the comfort of your own house. So for this whipped coffee, we need 5 teaspoons of instant coffee powder, and they said 5 teaspoons of sugar, but I don't normally use sugar in my coffee, and I use a sugar substitute, easy sugar, so I only used about 2.5 teaspoons of that. Add 3 to 4 teaspoons of water, mix that together, and then just start beating it with an egg beater. It takes a little bit of time. If you're making a big batch, it can take up to 10 minutes. This took roughly about 5 minutes. And then what you do is you add milk to a frother. You can either have it hot or cold. Add a bit of the cappuccino mixture to a cup. Wait for your milk to be frothy and simply pour that over and stir and enjoy. Today's life hack is for moms with toddlers and babies. Always keep a spare nappy bag in the boot of the car. That way, even if you dashed out without grabbing anything, you know you are actually prepared. Next up, Jeanette Diergaard for your Flex Minute.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Flex Minutes. I'm Jeanette Diergaard, and now today, if you want to get rid of those, if you want a thigh gap and you want to get rid of those fat between your inner thighs, then don't worry, I got your back. So what we're going to do is that we're going to do some inner thigh workouts. Now if you didn't know, sumo squats, it's a perfect way to work on your thigh muscles. So that's why it's great to just point out your toes and to go down, and you can work those inner thigh muscles and get it all worked. And obviously you're also working on those glutes, so well done to you. And then what we can also do is some clamshells. Now I know that sounds a bit fishy and oceany, but what you can do here is, what you want to do, lift up that leg, lift up your hip on the side and do some clamshells. So there you're working on your abductors, you're working on your inner thighs, and you're also getting an oblique stretch, an oblique workout out of that. But guys, that brings me to the end of today's Flex Minute. I hope I will see you all next time again.
Could you figure out that a riddle for today? What has many needles but doesn't sew? A Christmas tree. We will be back again tomorrow and continue our very important interview on the Cannabis and Hemp Association of Namibia. See you then.